Hey everyone, Nas here, and welcome back to episode 5 of Missing Person Cases, where we briefly dive into unsolved disappearances that may be lacking exposure in the public eye. I wanted to go over some more recent cases in this video. The cases will be spanning from 2020 to present day. Today I'm bringing you recent missing person cases that are unsolved. So sit back and let's get into the video. 70-year-old Sandra Eckert was last seen at her home near the Country Dale Elementary School in Franklin, Wisconsin at 11:30 p.m. on March 26, 2021. Her husband, Wes Eckert Sr., stated they got into an argument over his late mother's will, and Sandra wanted him to contest it. He said Sandra got up, got dressed, and appeared to be preparing to leave, saying, "You'll hear from my lawyer." He took her car keys away and told her that they would talk about the issue the next day. The couple slept in separate bedrooms, and Wes did not see his wife after going to bed. When he woke up in the morning, Sandra and his own car were missing. She still had a key for it. He said she also took several $1,000s in cash, and she has never been heard from again. Early in the morning at 3 a.m. on March 27th, Wes's gray 2005 Dodge Stratus with a Wisconsin license plate number 319 LGT was sighted traveling southbound on Racine Avenue, westbound on Tans Drive, and southbound on Crowbar Drive in Muskego, Wisconsin, about 8 miles from the Eckert home. It has not been seen since. Sandra's daughter said she didn't believe her mother would have taken her father's car or driven anywhere in the middle of the night. Some of the couple's 4 children believe their father could have been involved in her disappearance. Wes denies this, and theorizes Sandra met with foul play at the hands of someone who intended to rob her. Investigators believe Sandra was the victim of foul play, and stated they have 2 persons of interest in her disappearance. Sandra's case remains unsolved. Sandra Eckert's description is that of a 5'7" Caucasian woman with blonde hair and green eyes, and her ears are pierced. She was 70 at the time she vanished, and would be 71 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Franklin Police Department at 414-425-2522. 27-year-old Amanda Nicole Town was last seen at her aunt's residence in the 13,400 block of 99th Street in a rural area north of Fellsmere, Florida, at about 3 a.m. on March 2, 2020. She showed up in the night while her aunt and her aunt's husband were asleep, spoke to her nephew, then left again. She told her nephew she was planning to walk back to her boyfriend's home, half a mile south on North Hickory Street. Her boyfriend stated she had never arrived, and she has never been heard from again. According to her family, Town had a troubled history, including substance abuse, and was staying at various relatives' homes at the time of her disappearance. She had lost custody of her 3 children, who were placed with a family member, and just before she went missing, she had lost her job. In spite of problems in her life, she could always be reached by phone and never lost touch with her children, or went more than a couple days without contacting her family. Since Town was last seen, there's been no activity on her bank accounts or cell phone. It's also led to believe that her case may be linked to the murder of Aaliyah Beamer. 38-year-old Beamer moved from Indiana to Florida about 6 weeks prior to her disappearance from Fellsmere on January 31, 2022. She was found murdered on February 11th. Investigators haven't said how she died or where she was found, but they stated they haven't ruled out the possibility that Town's case was related. Unfortunately, Beamer's murder and Town's disappearance remain unsolved. Amanda Town's description is that of a 5'2" Caucasian woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. Town's ears are pierced and she has a tattoo of a butterfly on her right shoulder. She was 27 at the time she vanished, and would be 30 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Indian River County Sheriff's Office at 772-569-6700. 62-year-old Angelica Marrero was last seen in St. Petersburg, Florida, on February 28, 2020. A relative reported her missing on March 2nd after she didn't show up to work. She has never been heard from again. At the time of her disappearance, Angelica lived with her ex-husband, George Marrero, in a home on 81st Avenue North in the Gateway Plaza area. They had divorced in 2018, but still lived together and dated each other. One neighbor said that they often had noisy fights. George stated she had simply walked out the door on the day of her disappearance and never came back. However, video surveillance footage showed Angelica going into the house. The cameras never showed her leaving. Video from a neighbor's doorbell camera showed George removing a large object, wrapped in a blanket or tarp, from his house at 1 a.m. and putting it in the trunk of his car. A search of the home and 2 vehicles turned up with unspecified biological evidence linked to Angelica. Although her body has not been found, on April 3rd, the medical examiner issued a death certificate for Angelica, saying she was a victim of homicide by unspecified means. That same day, George was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in his ex-wife's case. George is still awaiting trial on Angelica's presumed death. Angelica Marrero's description is that of a 5'1" to 5'2" Caucasian woman with blonde hair and brown eyes. She was 62 at the time she vanished, and would be 65 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the St. Petersburg Police Department at 727-893-7780. Foul play is suspected in her case due to the circumstances involved. Unfortunately, Angelica's case remains unsolved. 25-year-old Dexter Pelt disappeared with a friend, 20-year-old John Dubose. The two men flew from their home state of Alabama to California on November 4, 2021, to visit friends. They landed in Sacramento and were seen getting into a dark blue 4-door sedan, possibly a Nissan or a Toyota, which left the airport a little after 11 a.m. Pelt and Dubose were last seen just south of Gridley, California, which is 60 miles north of Sacramento. Neither of them have been heard from again. A hunter found Dubose's cell phone in the woods in the Sutter Bypass Wildlife Area, on the northwest side of State Route 99, Feather River Bridge crossing, near the town of Nicholas, California. Unfortunately, a search of the surrounding area turned up with no other clues. In December of 2021, Ricardo Benelos Villarreal and Alfredo Benelos Villarreal, both residents of Gridley, were charged with 2 counts of murder in the missing men's cases. They knew Pelt and Dubose and had allegedly sent marijuana to them in Alabama. Investigators believe that the two killed Pelt and Dubose at a house in Gridley and hid their bodies. Blood-matching DNA from one of the missing men was found in Ricardo's detached garage. Ricardo has been arrested, but Alfredo remains at large. He may be driving a 2008 Nissan Altima with a California license plate number 6VAR204. Ricardo was tried for the murders in September of 2022. However, the jury was unable to reach a verdict, deadlocking at 9-3 for conviction. His retrial is set for spring of 2023. LaDexter Tequan Pelt's description is that of a 5'11" African-American man with dark hair and brown eyes. He was 25 at the time he vanished, and would be 26 now if he was found. John Dubose's description is that of a 5'9" African-American man with dark hair and brown eyes. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Butte County Sheriff's Office at 530-538-7434. Although Pelt and Dubose's remains have not been located, foul play is suspected in their disappearances due to the circumstances involved. Both Pelt and Dubose have yet to be found. 24-year-old Nikaela Williams was last seen in Indianapolis, Indiana, on November 8, 2021. That day, she had left her mother's home in the 4800 block of North Kenmore Road and got into a gray or white pickup truck with a loud engine. She was last seen at a home in the 3400 block of North Leland Avenue. That evening, she left the residence and has never been heard from again. Her cell phone last pinged along Kentucky Avenue shortly after she disappeared. A man named Destin or Beston Hull may have been the last person to see Williams prior to her disappearance. Authorities stated they were seeking Hull for questioning in her case. They didn't classify him as a suspect, but said he might have some information. Authorities also believe Williams may have traveled to Flint, Michigan after her disappearance. Although police stated foul play is not suspected in her case, her disappearance is considered highly unusual. She always kept in touch with her family and let them know her whereabouts. Nikaela D. Williams' description is that of a 5'3" to 5'5" African-American woman, with reddish dark hair and brown eyes. She has a tattoo of a dove and flowers on her right forearm, and a tattoo of a rosary with 3 banners on her upper arm. She also has a tattoo on the back of her right shoulder and a tattoo on her abdomen. She was 24 at the time she vanished, and she'd be 25 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department at 317-327-3811. Unfortunately, Nikaela Williams' case remains unsolved. 35-year-old Tiffany Foster was last seen leaving her home at Lakeside Apartments in the 2800 block of Lakeside Way in Noonan, Georgia on March 1, 2021. The last time her cell phone was active was at 2:58 p.m. when it pinged just north of Amlajack Boulevard. She has never been heard from again. At the time of her disappearance, Foster was a criminal justice major at Georgia Military College and worked as a security guard at HelloFresh. She missed her college classes on March 2nd, and on March 5th, she didn't show up for her shift or call in sick, which is uncharacteristic of her behavior. On March 8th, her recently purchased dark blue 2020 Nissan Altima with a temporary Georgia license plate number P1996240 was found abandoned 30 miles away in College Park, Georgia, with some of her belongings inside, including her purse, keys, and only credit card. Authorities arrested Foster's fiancé, Reginald Robertson, on charges of kidnapping and aggravated assault in April of 2021. Investigators stated that the charges were unrelated to Foster's disappearance and stemmed from a domestic violence incident between her and Robertson in November of 2020. It's not clear if Robertson is a suspect in her case, but investigators learned that he had moved Foster's car from Noonan to College Park days after she went missing, and he was charged with theft as a result. The charge was later dropped, and he's not been cooperative with the investigation into her disappearance. Tiffany Foster's description is that of a 5'2" African-American woman. She has dark hair and hazel eyes. She has a large red birthmark from her back down to her left arm, and has a heart-shaped tattoo on the back of her right shoulder that reads Big Sister 12/7/97. She was 35 at the time that she vanished. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Coweta County Sheriff's Office at 678-423-6711. Tiffany Foster's disappearance is considered suspicious, and unfortunately her case remains unsolved. 19-year-old Sydney West was last seen on September 30th, 2020. A rideshare driver drove her to the Crissy Field area of San Francisco, California, and dropped her off near the Golden Gate Bridge at 6:45 a.m. She has never been heard from again, and it's uncharacteristic for her to be out of touch with her family. After Sydney's disappearance, her backpack with some of her belongings was found in an area on the Golden Gate Bridge that she liked to visit. She would go there to admire the view, take photographs, and go running. Although the bridge has security cameras, fog and poor air quality from nearby wildfires often obstructed the view on the morning West disappeared, and the footage offered little evidence as to what happened. Since Sydney disappeared, there's been no activity on her cell phone, bank and credit cards, and social media accounts. Her phone and her Bose headphones were not found with her backpack and have never been recovered. West grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area and attended Foothill High School in Pleasanton, California, until her family moved to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. She had a very active lifestyle and was co-captain on her high school's volleyball team. She was also interested in writing, music, and other arts. After graduating high school in 2019, she took a gap year, then returned to California to attend college. When she began her first year of classes in 2020, She was still recovering from a concussion she had the past summer. She found online learning difficult and decided to withdraw and defer classes until the fall 2021 semester, and she lived with friends in the Bay Area while she was waiting to go back to school. Sydney West's description is that of a 5'10" Caucasian woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. Her ears are pierced, and she may also wear glasses. She was 19 at the time she vanished, and would be 21 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the San Francisco Police Department at 415-553-0123. Sadly, Sydney West's case remains a mystery. 47-year-old Lillian Lisette Max was last seen when she boarded a Greyhound bus in Birmingham, Alabama, en route to Atlanta, Georgia, on May 2, 2021. She borrowed $500 for the trip and said she had to go to a legal hearing regarding her immigration status. She has never been heard from again. Authorities subsequently learned that there was no hearing scheduled for her in Atlanta, and she may have never arrived there. She was reported missing on May 7th after she missed several appointments back in Alabama. She left all of her belongings behind. Max had lived in Coleman, Alabama for about a decade prior to her disappearance, and had previously lived in New York and California. She was well known in the local community and operated a business, the Aesthetica Lilium Hair Salon in Creel Plaza. Her friends believe she was from Mexico, and a legal permanent resident trying to get her citizenship. However, police stated she was actually from Honduras and was not a legal U.S. resident at the time of her disappearance. Prior to her vanishing, Max had canceled her cell phone service. The rent of her business was left unpaid, as were her utility bills. Investigators think Max left on her own accord and may not want to be found. They also think Lillian Max may not be her real name. Lillian Lisette Max's description is that of a 5'4" Hispanic woman with dark hair and brown eyes. She has tattoos on her chest. She was 47 years old at the time of her disappearance and would be 48 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Coleman Police Department at 256-734-1434. Her case remains unsolved, and she has remained listed as a missing person until her whereabouts and her well-being are confirmed. 29-year-old Tabitha Yvette Queen was last seen in Bastrop, Louisiana on May 10, 2021. Her 3 children were found at home alone. The oldest child, a 10-year-old, said Queen had left at 11 a.m. to go to the store. She went to the Sayview Moore grocery store and was shown there on the store's video surveillance. She has never been heard from again. Her vehicle was later found abandoned on West Pine Street in Morehouse Parish, Louisiana. Video surveillance footage showed an unidentified African-American man parking the car there and walking away eastbound. Queen had been arguing with a man whom she had loaned her car to for a few days before her disappearance. When the man returned the car to Queen, there was a strange smell, and when she checked the car over, she found blood in the area where the spare tire was stored. Queen then told the man he could no longer use her car, and he cursed at her and threatened to kill her. Later that same day, a van came by the house and someone tried to kidnap Queen. It's unclear whether the incident with the man who borrowed Queen's car has anything to do with her disappearance. Tabitha Yvette Queen's description is that of a 5'4" African-American woman with dark hair and brown eyes. Her ears are pierced and she has a scar on her left arm. She has tattoos of the word legend on her chest, stars on one arm, and a marijuana leaf on her left backside. She was 29 years old at the time of her disappearance, and would be 30 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Bastrop Police Department at 318-281-1322. Police stated that they had a person of interest in her disappearance, but named no suspects. Sadly, Tabitha Yvette Queen's case remains unsolved. It's sad seeing people trying to live out their daily life, to then just disappear without a trace. When I went through these cases, I was shocked to see how many people have been missing since 2020. I'm hoping we get closure on these cases soon, and that the family and friends of these individuals can find peace. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this video. I hope you have a great weekend, friends. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.